Hey, fellow theme parks enthusiasts and fellow Mouseketeers, Englentine, and homegrown tourist here, and I am with my friends Dalton, the Authenticator.
Finally,
Finally, I know it.
Weeks of dealing with phone issues, folks.
Finally, the Dalton has come back to the Disney Channel.
And the professor had to bow out, so we're not a full team yet. I'm pretty sure we will be at some point. And, of course, we have the real Dr. VENKMAN.
Except no kids.
Alrighty.
We traded one for the other today.
There is a lot of stuff to talk about today. Since we had a live stream last, a lot of stuff happened. Of course, some of it's revolving around the Wuhan virus. And some of it is just fun. Look, the one I want to start with, it happened last week, I believe. And we didn't get a chance to talk about it. We're going to talk about it today. And that is the fact that a 16-year-old broke into Tokyo Disney during the closure. Now, this isn't the first time that this kind of thing happened. Here in Orlando, as a matter of fact, some kid broke into Universal, the Volcano Bay. Just drove right up to the fence, jumped over the fence, and then they walked around it while it was closed, filming it. And he's actually facing trespassing charges and some jail time because it isn't his first time. Yeah, because he was dumb enough to call out his friend's name. His friend called out his own name. He admitted it on another video and even announced that, hey, we're going to next be going to go in. We're going to hide out and go inside Mount Everest while it's closed to see the Yeti up close. And then they did it. So this guy left a mountain of evidence behind. So this isn't the first time this kind of thing happens.
After infiltrating the Everest attraction, nice pun, even if it wasn't intentional.
Yep, and this kind of thing happens all the time. Adam the Woo, who is a very famous video blogger, and he's a travel vlogger. He got banned for life from Universal Studios for going backstage of some closed attractions, and he got banned from Disney for about a year or two for going into an abandoned water park at Disney. Let's see. Yeah. This says, according to TBS News, the boy broke in today, April 21st. Okay, this is an older story. He was visiting the Maihama area along with a group of other boys. According to police, it's unknown whether charges were filed or an arrest was made against the boy. But police have heard that the boys on nearby beach had more knowledge on the situation. Okay, so, wow, that was absolutely nothing. This happens all the time. It really does. I actually was wondering, ours is different, though. I was wanting to go see what Disney Springs is like. And I'm wondering if that same kind of thing would happen. I don't know if somebody's been there yet, or if somebody's been walking railed already. Maybe they got kicked off. But yeah, like I wonder what would happen because ours is open air. We don't have the gates up like this. This looks like it's a bit where they could walk into the park, the whole 9 yards. But I don't know. It's like what? But the thing is, you can risk getting permanently booted. I don't think this would be.
A reminder, folks: do not screw with the mouse.
Oh no, they take shit seriously. Hey, Maverick, how you doing? Good to see this channel have some activity. Yeah, hopefully it's going to continue. I've even got some video ideas and such. Fun times with that, though. I've got some ideas. And hello to MH Bauer 94. What's up? How are you doing? But I have done things like this before myself. Even after I lost my job at Universal, I worked there for 12 years. So there's nowhere I'm not comfortable going. And I know very much how to, I could walk backstage. I could go do whatever I want. I look like I belong because it's like a second home. And I've done that before. They changed the rules on me though, where I used to go backstage to get the price for employee food. and then I would go back into the park, usually with some food for the kids and me, you know. So instead of spending like $30, I just spent $5 or $10, you know. But then somebody recognized me and they, hey, you're working here again? Yeah, man, I'm over at you know, so okay, see you. Yeah. Yeah. There isn't any security back there. I'm assuming you know, since you've worked at the theme park. What happens is, oh my gosh, I'm giving away trade secrets here. Dun dun dun.
For about the 50th time today.
Right. The thing that happens is there are cameras everywhere, but they're really manned by only about, but as far, oh shit, I shouldn't be saying this. But Universal Studios has a huge bank of cameras, and there's tons of security TVs and everything with about 6 people watching them. See the problem?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is that gets less the fewer people who are there. So overnight, you don't have all of the people who are watching everything. Now, what gets me is they've also got people in vans. So this kid at Universal who drove up and then climbed the fence, they should have seen the white truck parked next to the fence and called it in. Somebody, you know, stay right there, call it in. What's going on? Why is this truck here
going on over in this area? Can we get somebody on it? So on and so forth.
It could be 100% somebody broke down or they had to pull off. They ran out of gas. They were walking over to the gas station, which is right there by the back of Volcano Bay. Or it could be that somebody jumped the fence, you know, and maybe we should have people watching. What ended up happening with the guy from Universal is they had pushed one of the buttons. They climbed up to the top of a slide and pushed one of the buttons, which started the motor.
Oh.
And they were like, holy shit, we got to go. You know, excuse my language. That's what happened there. As far as walking around, most of the time, if you know where you go, like if you're like, oh, wow, look at the wall. People are going to wonder why why are you looking around like this? Are you new? You know, that kind of thing. But if you walk like you know what you're doing, nobody's going to stop you. There's not a security.
To quote Ursula, don't underestimate the importance of body language.
Exactly. I was able to move around. Now I don't do it anymore. I wouldn't do it anymore because it's far beyond my time. I don't know the rules anymore. The last time I worked at Universal Studios was 2015. And by that time, they changed everything. A lot of stuff is different. But I also had the benefit of knowing people because I worked there for 12 years. It was like I could even say hello to, I knew the security guards. And not all of them knew I wasn't working there anymore. So, hey, Tim, what's up? You know, and he go, hey, man, come on. You know, I could go anywhere because I would say, hey, and I would talk, what's going on? How's your day? They wouldn't think anything of it, you know. But I would never do that again because, and by the way, just like the dumbass who was on the screen, I'm now admitting that I've done this on video. But no, it's
should be affixed to you in about 0.8.
And my pass is canceled now. Yeah,
you know, it'd be much better if you just went on with the mask on, so no one who you were, and then you talk about stuff.
Yeah,
with a voice changer.
I just got my annual pass canceled at Universal, but the thing is I think they really should. In all honesty, pay attention to these things and up the security, because there was one homeless guy that snuck into SeaWorld a long time ago, decided it would be fun to swim with the whales.
He's no longer swimming today.
Yeah,
he swims with the fishes, as they say in Godfather.
He knows now why they are called killer whales. Bro.
I thought maybe he was going to take a bath, and he realized there's a whale in there, and he's like freaking out.
Maybe.
Well,
maybe
if he had survived, it would have definitely been a whale of a story.
Got a whale of a tale to tell you, lads. It's coming right at me. Now it's biting off my feet and toes, and I don't know. That's from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, ladies and gentlemen, and you're welcome. Yes, but not. Yeah, this kind of thing has happened forever and a day. Unfortunately, now that you have YouTube and people get paid for it and all that, it's kind of on the rise.
Do you know how you solve that? You put barbed wire on the top.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what a terrible movie from the 90s and 2000s has to do with anything, Venkman, but we can give it a go.
Oh, gotcha. But in all honesty,
gosh, Colton, I really missed your puns.
Sneaking into a theme park is actually the plot of an old slasher film from the 80s. What was that called? That was called Funhouse, right? Yep, Funhouse. Yeah. But let's see, at Disney, after I lost my job there, I also, I would take shortcuts. I think I'm going to go on Space Mountain today, and I would go through because you can get there by going around Main Street and just heading right over. Yeah, good thing it was just a kid being an annoyance and not somebody who snuck in with bad intention. And that's where, yeah, I mean, I would be really.
I'd be scared to go in there so somebody could sneak in and just put a bomb or something terrorist attacks.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'd have people walking with dogs and all.
Yeah, that would actually be kind of funny. Disney, the Disney execs walk out, release the hounds, and then you have bulldogs walking.
Release the hounds! You got to stop them.
Yeah, they have the hounds walking through just in case you didn't have the right identification.
Papers, please.
But that would really tick me off. It's one thing you go, you want to film something, but to go and actually wanted to, those kids should never have touched. I mean, granted, they should never have been in Volcano Bay after hours, but they should never have touched any buttons whatsoever.
No. Shouldn't have even been in the vicinity of the button.
Right. I mean,
is that if they get hurt and they break their leg, can they sue Disney? They're trespassing?
Probably in this climate. I mean, why you should have had barbed wire at the top of the fence. You should have had somebody watching all the cameras. You should have had proper lighting. You should have had a warning. Don't be a dumbass and start a ride that you don't know how to operate.
Cluster screw though, if that were to happen, because you'd have the people who did the sneaking in suing Disney, but then you have Disney countersuing because trespassing and whatnot.
Yeah,
so
you wouldn't have been there to hurt yourself if you did things right. Yeah, it is kind of weird. I don't know. Like I said, I've done silly and stupid things myself, but I think as you get older, you get a little wiser. You get a little that you're dumbass. I was
risk averse.
I was a dumbass then. Now you're being a dumbass now, basically. That's the whole point on that one. Let's see. Where else do we want to go? Oh, this is something. This happened while we're all shut down. There was a permit filed for kitchen gas leak at Disney's Brown Derby. Good thing, I guess it was empty. But the Brown Derby is like a premier restaurant at Walt Disney World. It is the #1 restaurant at the Hollywood Studios. And apparently they were having a gas leak that they needed to fix. Now, Disney is not notorious for fixing things these days. I blame
especially not now under the reign of Bob Chapek.
Chapek, yes. I that's one thing that I just can't get. No, sorry. Bob Chapek is not winning friends and influencing people as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, talk about failing upward. I mean, he presides over one of the most crash-laden park dynasties in Disney history, and then he's like, and then Bob Iger's like, Will, Bob, I'm leaving soon, and I need another Bob to take over for me. So do you want the job? And he's like, yes, of course I want the job. Stupid decisions were made all around, I think.
Yeah, permit was filed just earlier. Cites Westbrook Services. It doesn't have much to it, but this is one of those things. I remember I worked at Twister. I was the lead at Twister, which is like being the manager. And you could smell gas. The thing is on Twister, there's an open flame. It was part of the end part. After everything happens, the sign blows away. There's a big fireball that goes up the middle of the tornado. It's like the big finale thing. Mm-hmm. So there's an open flame. Well, we're the team members are sitting there, and I get this message. We got a weird smell. I'm like, oh, that's propane. We've got a gas leak. And I know we also have this open flame, so immediately I get on the horn. We got to shut this. We got to shut this down. They got, so they bring people in, and they tell me, they say, I need your team to wrap themselves around the building here. I said, bulls crap. No, and I didn't say scrap. I said, no. I'm having my team away from the building, and we'll stop them at a distance, but I'm not having my people stand up against a building where there's an open flame and a gas leak. Are you freaking kidding me? But the first thing, man, I am no longer welcome at Universal Studios.
Again, it was very much nice knowing you, Eglantine. We look forward to seeing your corpse used as one of the audio animatronics figures.
Right. But yeah, they told me to hang out, and I told them, no, we're going to push everybody away from the building, and we're going to make a wider perimeter, just in case. I mean, more than likely nothing's going to happen, and nothing did happen. But I don't really care about the 99% chance. It's that 1%.
It's that scary, also elusive 1% of a chance of being ruined. That is the problem.
Well, my thinking is this. If you were in a room and you were with 100 people and somebody came in and said, one of you guys is going to blow up just for being in this room, do you want to be in that room anymore?
No, I'm getting out of this room. Goodbye.
Yeah, that's the way
you can you later. Goodbye.
Yeah, you could tell me it's a 1% chance, and for most part, okay, I'm gonna be thinking, yeah, that's easy peasy, but that one, yeah, you know what? There's no harm.
There's also the factor of luck, which when you're stupidly lucky in some cases, eventually the shoe's going to be on the other foot, and you never want to be under that foot when the shoe is on it.
Yeah, it's funny though, because one thing I will say, in all honesty, is Universal is really, really good about putting safety first. Safety for the guests, safety for the team members. It is absolutely the most important thing. We would have all sorts of classes. We were provided earplugs. We were, all sorts of stuff. They really do pay attention to that kind of stuff, and do not take. Universal's actually harsher on people who break safety rules than Disney is. Even those 100 people have family they have to go back to. Yeah, exactly, Maverick. So yeah, I kind of dig on Universal for that. One of the things is you just sometimes you're arguing with the guest for their own safety.
Oh, God.
That's what gets me. Like I remember arguing, and I could have gotten in trouble for this if the person wanted to report me, but the guy was yelling and mad because I was rescuing at oh my gosh, Minions, Despicable Me. I was rescuing at Despicable Me at the time, and this guy wanted to bring his kids on. They were just a little too small to ride. They loved the Minions. And the guy was mad. I kept telling him, you could go and you can sit up front, and it's going to be just like riding the ride because it's so close. You actually feel the motion a little bit. Mm-hmm. But he wanted to be on the ride, and he was yelling. And I looked at him. I said, one of us right now is arguing for your child's safety. It's not you. He was fit to be tied.
Well, true, but how fit to be tied would he have been had he lost a child that day?
Yeah,
So,
it's pretty bad. It can get pretty bad. Let's see where else shall we go? Because there's a lot to talk about. Let's see. Shanghai Disneyland reportedly testing parades and nighttime shows for reopening. You know what? Let's bump right on over to. I'm going to talk about that a little bit. Where is it? Where is it? I thought I had. Here we are. With Disney parks closed indefinitely, we're hungry for any word on when they'll be able to get back. Well, we'll be able to get back to our laughing place. Damn straight. I told Gail today I want to go back to Disney. I am missing my Disney trips. According to some analysts, we've heard June or maybe even 2 years is the time frame when we could get back to Mickey Pretzels and Flights.
wait, you say what now? 2 years?
2 years. And now we have another prediction on when the parks might reopen. According to Forbes, they are saying it could be 18 to 24 months. It's basically 1.5 to 2 years. And I like this for park attendance to return to normal. Here's the thing. I am absolutely A-okay with park attendance not being normal if I can go. That
Mostly
means
because you'll benefit from not as many people being around, and you'll have England time. But that's neither here.
Did you just say England time?
England time. It's England time.
Man, you guys are better at me than coming up with these puns. I dig this, man.
It's what I do, and I have not been able to do it for several weeks.
It's
I have a lot of this stored up.
They're saying crowds are unlikely to return in full until there's a vaccine widely available. Now, we've heard, I'm pointing over to my wife because she reads this stuff far more than I do even, but we've heard that they are going to open it up to annual pass holders first. We're going to be the guinea pigs. So, fingers crossed on that being true. What I think and what my prediction is, though, is that while the crowds are down, prices will be up. And when the crowds are up, prices will stay up. But let's see. Additionally, UBS expects that earnings from Disney's theme park segment will drop 92% from last year's $6.8 billion, with the possibility that 2021 could be even far worse for the parks. Well, at least Disney didn't put about $92 billion into construction on a new Star Wars land.
Oh,
and
no way.
on highways that go into Hollywood studios, on new attractions and rides everywhere, or building new cruise ships. At least they didn't spend money on that. Am I right, Dalton?
Except they kind of did, and therefore,
yeah.
What?
They rebuilt Hollywood studios, and now they're going to be a little bit in trouble. Additionally, Forbes spoke with a theme park industry expert, Dennis Spiegel, who gave predictions on how the parks could operate going forward. His possible suggestions include disinfecting rides much more frequently, and could even alter the way guests are moved through the park to create more space. He believes that if these practices do take place across the industry, that Disney would be one of the first to do so. Disney set the bar. They will get it, and they will get it right. They used to set the bar. We'll see. Currently, Disney has not set a firm reopening date, though former CEO Bob Iger has spoken on possible precautions that could be taken upon their reopening, such as temperature screenings. That might end me going. If somebody puts something on my forehead every time I walk through, bag checking is one thing. Putting a freaking thing up against my head to check my temperature, I don't know about that one, man.
Well, if it's just a little thing they have in hospitals, that they can literally just slide it across your forehead and then it's done in like a second. And
well, I would want to know what would be the temperature you're checking for.
Presumably, anything resembling a fever would probably be suspect.
Yeah, I guess, because I mean, some people run hot, some people run cold.
People are hot and then they're cold.
Yeah, they keep the hot side hot, the cool side cool.
Yes, and then no.
But it's just I don't know. I don't know about a temperature thing. When they reopen, get used to not seeing a flood of people around you. I know I'm gonna love it. I've been a couple of times where there wasn't. Like, they used to have these annual pass holder things where you could sign up, and this might be something they do also. I mean, if they're gonna open, because when they open it up to annual pass holders only, it's going to be kind of like a dress rehearsal of sorts. So
it's gonna be a test run, probably. Only
we're going to be the guinea pig
until we're sure we're back on our feet, basically.
How are they going to deal with restaurants? Well, they'll test it on us. How are they going to deal with lines? They'll test it on us. My thinking is a lot of lines they do like this. It'll be where it goes around one, so they keep that 6 feet thing.
Do you know what it's going to be like? It's going to be like Walt Disneyland when Walt first opened it up in the 60s.
Maybe. Well, no, when they first opened it up, they gave out paper tickets that were copied, and so many people.
I'm just saying it's going to be mass chaos.
yeah, that was mass chaos.
No, maybe they will defrost Uncle Walt to make sure that we know everything's okay.
We can't risk him getting the disease, bro.
It's about time, because the last time we defrosted him, it was to stop 3 hurricanes from coming up Florida, and it hit New Jersey instead.
I'm just shocked that nobody, like you said, people are jumping over the fences. I'm trying. Nobody's actually looting the place.
That, by the way, happened before. We talked about that with the guy stealing from Disney. Somebody
tried to loot the mouse.
Yeah, he was going into storage lockers and stealing costumes and such like that he would sell on eBay. There's a really good video of him with the cops, and they said that they had to keep his phone for evidence, and he reaches for it and tries to run away. I'm like, dude, you're in an interrogation room in a police station. Where are you going? But yeah,
trespassing on the property of the mouse is one thing, but outright stealing from the mouse, at that point, may Chernobog have mercy upon your soul.
Yeah, he's
then a group of Mickey, Donald, and Goofy with crowbars.
He was not a bright lad, not a bright lad at all. But
we should do a Five Nights at Freddy's at Disney, which they should do is have animatronics that protect the park at night.
Well, you do know where all of those animatronics come from, right? It's from Uncle Walt's enemies. You didn't think he never made any, did you?
Damn straight. All those kids that go missing. The thing is what I think they could do when they have days where you're where they just close it off, except for people with annual passes. They'll close the park a little early, and then the thing is we have to say, well, we're going this day or we're going this day. They could have it limited capacity where you can pick 2 or 3 days, or at least 1 day a week. That way you can go 4 days a month, or some people use them off. I've got the big pass. I pay $70. They could do it where you can pick more than one depending on how much they paid. Like if you only paid $15, you're only paying $15 a month for the Monday through Friday one. Maybe you can pick 2 days a month or something like that for your $15. I could see them doing something like that. That way they know exactly how many people are going to be in the park, and that way they know that they could keep them a certain distance. I understand it goes, and it could be like, okay, we're only having this, and this restaurant open on those days, and maybe that'll help influence your choices. I think it's going to be an interesting thing to see. Fingers crossed it happens this way. I would love to go in with a limited capacity to see the stuff, to enjoy the stuff that normally wouldn't be able to do. We haven't me and Gail have never been to the Castle restaurant. I would love to do that. I would love to see how they could do that. However, I'm a little bit different than even Gail. I do believe in acting responsibly, but I don't believe in panicking over this. I've washed my hands. I keep myself clean. If I touch anything that somebody else has touched, I wash my hands immediately. So I'm not afraid, but I cannot wear a mask. I had upper respiratory bronchitis. I take deep breaths just to get a normal one. So when I put on a mask, I feel like I'm about to pass out, and I almost did at a post office. So I can't, if I wear a mask, usually it's like right here.
When you guys get warm down there, it gets like anything over like 70 to 80 degrees, and it starts to get a little humid out there. Putting a mask on can actually cause people to have respiratory problems, as it is. Yeah. Whether they're fine or healthy or not, it's just the fact that you're limiting your breathing. And you're breathing carbon dioxide.
What I think I could do is, if they required a mask to ride a ride, to go in like the Pirates or something like that, I think I can handle it. But I still would probably put it right here rather than over the nose, because I'm telling you, we went to the post office and I put the mask on, and I'm standing there and I'm like, I was trying to get my breath. And
what you should do is order online for those military surplus stores. Get the giant full gas mask they used in World War I, and then just walk in the stores like that and see how many people freak out.
No, what you need to do is also get like a fedora and a suit, and you can go full Wesley Dobbs about it.
Hey, there you go.
Because my brother, he's in the Air Guard. He has the full mask, the whole head mask if he needs to. And I told him, like, dude, if you're gonna do that, you gotta walk in the store, and then you gotta do live stream while people are looking at you. Just record it on Instagram, wherever.
Oh my gosh! Today I went to now. They're planning on getting the state opened up. They're planning on opening things up more.
California's doing that too.
And the thing is my store now has enter here, exit there, go up. You have to travel this way down this hall. Like, guys, I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. I know I'm being a douche, but I'm not going to be doing that here.
Stores have a little arrow to tell you where to exit on the floor.
Yeah.
Follow the lines. And I think it's hilarious. Like, just wait here, 6 feet apart. Okay. And I'm in there, like, everybody's walking behind each other. Like, it's like 2 feet apart.
It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous.
Also, someone released was the Sound of Music. And it's my favorite things, but she's singing about quarantine. Whenever the thunder, they replaced the thunder, and the lightning with some people coughing, and the kids jump away, hide.
Oh.
So we're going to have to. By the way, we're going to have to be getting into some more Disney Plus stuff. I think. I know I keep saying that. But I really do. I like doing these things. I told you all the stuff that I had to do yesterday, and I'm not even done with it yet. So I was like, I want to get to live streaming. I want to get to this and this and this and this and this, and there's so much,
Well, give us so we'll do without you.
I almost am okay with that. Like, if I could give you guys at the very least, film one and send it to me, and I'll post it.
Come on, Dad, give us the keys to the car.
I know, right? If this wasn't attached to so much other stuff, I would.
And of course it would the car would wind up at the bottom of a cliff, and it'd basically be like a Clark Griswold version of teaching his son to drive.
I was going long.
Well, Dalton decided he wanted to drive, so let him drive, and we went over a cliff.
Where's my automobile?
I'm not that much of an idiot.
Now, there's a lot of stuff happening. There's a lot of good stuff on Disney Plus now, even some new documentaries. There's just so much actually to talk about. I wanted to do for a while now brackets. And by the way, I'm completely copying everybody else because everybody else is doing it. But where we rate this versus that, and I think it would be a lot of fun. Now, granted, one of them will be more of a me and Professor Pixel thing if he ever shows up. Yeah, we're talking about you, Prof.
Who's that guy?
I know, right? No, he was here the last time. You weren't there, bub. So,
Well, to be fair, I was probably sleeping because you were about doing a noon stream.
Yeah, I want to do one about the rides, and I think it would be fun to do one about the movies too. But we go through the eras. Like first, we start off with the classic, you know, the wartime era, the classic era, the without Walt, whatever you want to call it, the dark period, and so forth and so on. And we can do those in brackets, and then I think that would be a lot of fun. Or we just go. I don't know, and make for a couple of videos, I think, or live streams, which would be very interesting. And I think so. If we talk about why we liked it.
Well, my thing is, we never finished Jeff Goldblum.
I thought we did.
Did we?
Yeah.
Maybe we did. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought we had talked about them all. But there's even another new documentary. So there's a lot of stuff on there.
You still need to watch Gargoyles. So
I knew it was coming, that's why I didn't bring it up. I'm like, he's gonna say it's the perfect time to do a watch party for Gargoyles.
We should do a watch party for Gargoyles. Have you never seen this?
I think it's only what, 1 or 2 seasons.
Gargoyles is to Disney animation what the Paul Dini Bruce Timm era was for comic book animation.
Okay, no, that's big talk. That's big talk for a one-eyed Batman.
I stand by the words.
Okay.
How many seasons is there? I'm not sure.
So here's something fun.
3 seasons.
So one of the things I wanted to talk about, and I thought it would be fun to get Professor Pixel, let my wife sit next to the microphone without being on camera. And one of the things I wanted to talk about was what is your worst moment on Disney rides? For example, or what do you think are the worst things about Disney rides? Don't say line, because that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is say, let me think of something, because I don't want to go straight to the meat and potatoes of this. Okay.
Well, speaking of potatoes, when somebody throws up their potatoes on you.
There's a scene in Buzz Lightyear. It comes from when it was If You Had Wings. It's a tunnel. Okay, all throughout Buzz Lightyear, you got your gun, you're shooting the targets, but then there's a scene where it's just one tunnel. It's got a movie, and there's a ship bouncing around, and now you can shoot at the ship, but that's not going to give you as much point as shooting at random stuff. But you don't know about this, so it's really kind of pointless, and it's only there because they were too cheap to actually switch it to something else.
They reskinned an old ride, and so
right.
a way to use it.
So it really is just not a good part of the attraction. What we were talking about, what me and Gail were talking about. Okay, well, if you move this question over to Epcot, what would you have? Okay, I've got my answer came to me immediately. If you've ever been on the Frozen ride. This is a retooling of the Norway ride, the Maelstrom, and I thought it was pretty cool. The one thing I would have changed on that ride is when you're going up hills, it's shaking, and you get this all the way up. No need for it. You know, let's calm that down. So when I heard that they were changing it to Frozen, I was thinking, okay, finally they can take time out and they can fix this. Oh, but they didn't. Oh, no. I took Gail on, and now I enjoyed watching her on the ride. But then again, I like bouncy things. But she was like, oh, this is hurting my back. And I'm like, yeah, it's really uncomfortable. It has been forever and a day. She just hadn't been on Maelstrom for a long time.
In a while, yeah.
Turns out that there's a 27-year-old guest with spina bifida that's suing Disney over intense drop in Frozen. Now he's talking about something different. At the end.
Why you want to? If you have problems with that, why are you on a roller coaster?
Oh, it's not a roller coaster; it's a boat ride. So, in all honesty, there's a small drop. Oh, it's not too bad. In all honesty, the drop is not that bad.
If I had problems with that, I would really be picking what I go on.
Well, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. But I'm telling you, this is something that you would hear. It is not too bad because it's a quiet boat ride. And then at the end, it's got a drop that's maybe 10, maybe 12 feet. So you would hear, okay, it's not that bad.
It's not he's on the Jungle Cruise. It's fine.
Let's see. The intensity of various attractions featured across Walt Disney World can vary from person to person, depending on their prior exposure to attractions, any existing medical conditions, or even what you had to eat or drink that day. You should always pay attention to any warning signs or inquire with guest relations regarding any rides you should skip or precautions you should take. While some attractions may seem like gentle dark rides when it comes to rides like Pirates of the Caribbean and Frozen Ever After, unexpected drops may have serious consequences for those who aren't prepared for them, as described in one of the latest lawsuits to hit Disney. According to the Orlando Sentinel, a 27-year-old Chicago area woman is suing Disney after riding Frozen Ever After in the Norway Pavilion at Epcot. Amanda Peters, who uses a wheelchair and has spina bifida, made sure to check in with cast members before riding the attraction on January 12th, but was assured that the ride was gentle and only featured a small dip, which is exactly what happens, except not the going down part. The going up part is the bad.
Does it have an old school like chain lift thing?
Yeah,
that explains it. I remember we have a sort of semi-local amusement park called Knoebels Grove, and all of the like roller coasters are wooden, so it's all that old school theme parky technology. And whenever there was that rising up, there was always that jerky motion because you're literally being lifted basically by a set of chains.
Yeah. And oh my gosh, it is so rough. Now that to me would cause a lot of problems. Here's the page. Here's their description. It's good for any height, all ages, slow rides, small drops, and it's dark. Okay. Yes, it's, accessible to wheelchair guests. And it says, if you look at the verbiage used on the attractions landing page within the Walt Disney World website, it lists the attraction as a dark, slow ride with a small drop. Now, here's the thing, Peters had undergone brain surgery 6 weeks prior, but was given clearance by her doctor to travel so long as she avoided anything intense and opted for only slow-moving rides like It's a Small World, which, aside from the drop and the climb, Frozen is. The lawsuit alleges that online ride descriptions misinformed the family and that cast members were not properly trained. Now, here's the thing. I think the cast members described it perfectly. I think this page describes it perfectly. The problem is a small drop to one person is not the same to another. Intensity is not the same.
A small drop to someone with spina bifida who just got brain surgery 6 weeks ago
is enough.
Is a bit different from how even somebody like me would handle it.
Now, my thinking would be, at this point, I've got to put a lot on Peters for doing it, in all honesty. What were you going to say, VENKMAN?
I was just going to say, when it comes to any theme park rides, I know there's always a chain that pulls you up, no matter what it is. Even if it's a boat ride, the log rides, there's always a thing that pulls you up, and there's always a chance that it can happen. So that's why you sign a waiver when you come in the park.
Oh, man, that would take forever and a day.
I'm sorry if you're gonna be if at the point where someone's gonna try and sue someone because they did not expect a roller coaster to be bumpy.
Yeah, but VENKMAN, don't give Disney any ideas about making things more safety oriented or more paperwork heavy. You know they will take it.
Well, I'm just saying when you I think it's already in there. When you purchase tickets, he says that they're not reliable for anything that happens in the park.
No, they're not liable, and yeah, they are.
They could be.
Yeah, they are. So the ride's drop led to Peters experiencing violent backlash, hitting her head on the seat and causing mental fog with slurred speech and neck pain. Her family has scheduled an MRI to understand the full extent of the potential damage, and they are seeking $30,000 in damages, which is a sneeze to Disney even in a year like this. So I'm kind of interested in seeing where that
not
might go.
Unreasonable for something like that. Especially if she just got brain surgery or something like that 6 weeks ago, and she has all these pre-existing conditions. yeah, I can definitely imagine whacking your head hard enough to cause, mental fog and speech issues. At that point, the lawsuit's justified. You can make arguments as to whether she should have, been more careful, which she probably should have been, and you can be more you can make arguments about how they described it and so on and so forth. But at that point, if you're basically having seizure symptoms because of this, then yeah, it's probably justified.
Okay.
It's going to get to the point where Disney,
in my opinion, anyway.
I understand this. It's fortunate it shouldn't happen, but in the future, Disney's going to start tying down. It's be like, well, if you have a pre-existing health conditions, do not ride.
Well, they say that anyway.
Yeah.
They say that about everything anyway, and B, it seems like this is some of Disney's chickens coming home to roost lately, because every 5 minutes something breaks in the park, or
that's
now the COVID-19 thing is happening. So it very much seems like Bob Cheapskate there needs to get his act together, especially if he's going to be taking over the entire company.
Guess he's cheap.
Well, I found the one that I think I should have popped up, and here is a man arrested breaking into Disneyland.
Oh, nice.
It turns out, according to the local news, during the park's closure, a young man was arrested over the weekend for breaking into Disneyland. And it turns out that he jumped over a gate near the backlot area. The man was found by authorities near Guardians of the Galaxy mission breakout. While a motive is currently unclear, police believe his intention was to steal equipment from the construction site. He was cited for trespassing and then released. So that was probably the one that we.
I'm just glad that Rocket's not building that thing. How much duct tape would be on the ride?
I like the comments. Authorities won't identify the man, but his wife and family were spotted making a quick exit in a really ugly station wagon, and the moose outside didn't tell him that the park was closed. That's funny.
Funny.
Yeah. Let's see. Which Disney World matches there are dozens of blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay. Oh, it's a quiz. What is this? Sea shark. Okay. What is your favorite wild animal? Sea lion, shark, eagle, sea turtle, lion, bear. Let's go with eagle. Okay. Next question. What is your favorite Disney World thrill ride? Seven Dwarfs, Splash Mountain.
Yeah, I was gonna say Splash Mountain.
Let's see. What is your favorite? Oh, next question. What is your favorite Pixar movie out of these?
Toy Story.
Yep. But I'm doing this. Which Disney World destination is your favorite? Hollywood Studios, Typhoon Lagoon, Magic Kingdom, Disney Springs, Animal Kingdom, or Epcot?
I think yours is Epcot. Don't you like the food?
Oh, I love the food there, but overall, I got to go with Animal Kingdom. What is your favorite Disney World show? Happily Ever After, Rivers of Light, which sucks. Mickey's Royal Friendship Fair. No, thank you. Festival of Lion King. Ooh, that's a really good one. Illuminations are fantastic. I've got to go with Happily Ever After. That fireworks show is amazing.
I would have said Fantasmic, but
that's a great one too. There was really the only wrong answer was Rivers of Light. Who's the favorite Disney princess? Moana, Tiana, Belle, Snow White, Pocahontas, or Ariel?
He's gonna choose Belle.
Out of these,
you could always pick the one that you got on the personality test thing.
Which one was I on the personality test?
I thought you were Snow White.
I though, but that's not my favorite thing. This is a personality, like who's your favorite?
I guess I say Belle because she's book smart.
Yeah, plus I like that movie. Let's see. What is your favorite classic Disney snack? Pretzel, Dole Whip, beignet. Oh, Dole Whip, any day of the week. Okay, and you got Animal Kingdom Lodge. Yeah, okay. Of course, I said that was my favorite park to go to. I love this lodge, by the way. It is so gorgeous on the inside. It's got the zoo on the outside. Yeah.
It's got the lions on the inside.
It's got well, they do have a running of the bulls throughout the lobby.
Nice.
And that makes it a lot more.
That's when everything off, right?
Yeah, it makes it worth the $500 a night. Okay, so here we're going to close out on this. It's 5 disappointing things about returning to Walt Disney World as an adult. Now, granted, Pixar's here. If you were here, he's more of a park person, but you came here as a teenager. You're a little bit older now, so perhaps you can tap into this. And it's millennials like myself are starting to do something in droves, return to Walt Disney World. You do that. You know, you go back, you want to bring your kids. Hey, I had fun here, kids. You should try that too. Let's see what they say. Number 1, the monorail. Okay. What's disappointing about the monorail? To me, it's the smell. When I was a kid, I would love to look out the window. I still do, by the way. You know what? And I love the monorail, and for all the same reasons I loved it as a kid.
The Minnesota Zoo had a monorail.
Monorail.
I was just about to do that. Yeah, from Simpsons. I don't remember any negative things about the monorail. Honestly, I really enjoyed the idea of transport by monorail.
I love it, and I love this too. You can get on a monorail at Magic Kingdom. You don't have to have a ticket for Epcot, and it'll take you all the way around and back to Magic Kingdom, and you get a little ride through Epcot.
Sir, that'd be me. Don't you want to go anywhere else? No, I'm on the monorail. I'm just gonna go around the whole time,
Yeah. I've done. Yeah, people do that all the time. I've done that. I've gone to Disney just to ride the monorail.
It's probably a pretty great way to people watch too, I would imagine.
Yeah. And now, of course, they've got their little gondola things. So if I were to say what's bad about the monorail as an adult that you don't notice as a kid, sometimes it could smell like urine. The air conditioner never seems to be working hard enough. Let's see. I think it's now other people may not like the fact that sometimes the doors don't all the way close anymore. On some of the older ones, but I think that's awesome because I love watching any ride break down. So I'm a little bit weird like that.
Right where the water is, right?
Oh, yeah. Let's see. The most vivid memory of blah, blah, blah. Experiencing the monorail as an adult is another story. The cars are malfunctioning with doors that don't always stay closed. The crowds at the waiting in line to get there is bad. They're imposing and impressive. The sense of escape and transition from real world to Epcot and the Magic Kingdom that the monorail was supposed to create no longer exists. That's true. Gail feels this a lot. She no longer feels like, oh, you're being taken from our world to theirs. Instead, she's like, God dang it, it's one more thing we have to go through before we get to the actual park we want to get to. It simply feels disappointing upon first return and at best a small house. Gail thinks it's a huge hassle. Sometimes I'll even drop her off and then go park. Let her take. But then sometimes we just go park at one of the hotels. Let's see. Sense of scale. Everything seems a little bit bigger, a little bit grander, and a little bit more magical when you're a kid, even further. Okay. Beyond the fact that many of the structures in the park utilize forced perspective, and that is right here. You'll notice that the buildings, the windows get smaller as they go in to make it seem like it's taller and at a distance to make the castle look taller. Not that you have to, because that castle's pretty big.
Yeah, I noticed this a little bit when I went. I was expecting things to be a lot more larger than life than they were. That being said, there were still a lot of things that did give me that sense of awe and wonder and whatnot. But in particular, a lot of the old school rides that I actually was looking forward to going on the most were often disappointing, just because they hadn't been tended to in a long time, it seemed, and they weren't treated with the kind of respect they should have been. Like I keep mentioning, I'd love to go back now and see kind of all the new stuff that's open, because I'd imagine that if everything were just treated to, a refreshing and everything was cleaned up nice and neat, it would all feel wonderful. But
the strange thing here, Dalton, is like if you came down and we went to Magic Kingdom, I would pray for us to have a breakdown on Haunted Mansion so bad they had to evacuate us and we got to walk through it with the lights on.
that would be interesting. Haunted Mansion was always one of my favorite rides. One of my earliest memories is actually when the Eddie Murphy movie came out. But yeah, I would love to see that kind of behind the scenes stuff. I honestly, I don't know what it would take to have this happen, but I'd love to go down into the tunnels, the cast only tunnel.
One of those things I could get away with, could not get away with taking you, man.
I know. It's one of those dreams that I've had just as that much of a Disney geek that will never happen.
I'm afraid for you that might take actually becoming an employee. So
yeah, and I'm not ready to sell my soul to the mouse.
Alrighty. So it says there's a loss of grand scale. It doesn't completely puncture the immersion you feel walking through the parks. It simply makes you feel like everything is smaller than you once remembered, dulling the grandeur. Yeah, that happens. But then again, you're also talking with me. I'm somebody who it suffers familiarity. Like sometimes I'll go in and I'll actually take it in. And I made sure I did this. If you ever watch my videos, I'll start them off on the train station looking out over the Magic Kingdom. And I always say basically the same thing. This is one of my favorite views in Orlando. It's because you're looking right down Main Street at the castle. You're looking above everything. And I do that so I can remember that sense of awe, that sense of wonder that people have when they first come in. You
seem like you get that way again every time there's a new attraction.
Oh yeah.
I remember when you did the video talking about the Navi River trip, and I could tell you were always very excited about that. So
yeah, absolutely. I really do. I can't wait because I did not get a chance to go on Runaway Train before this closure. And I really do want to ride it, and I'm so excited. And the new Star Wars ride is one of those things where you had to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning to get there at rope drop at 6 a.m. so you can go in and I got a fast pass, I can ride it.
Time constraints.
And this is one thing. Hey, thank you for the shutdown, because now I might actually make it onto this new Star Wars ride, because I'm never gonna get up for that cost. Absolutely. When you're a kid, everything's bought for you.
Mm-hmm.
The cost of theme park tickets seem to rise every month. There are 4 parks now, and theme lands continue to grow as well. The food offerings are ever expanding the palate and giving guests the chance to have one of the greatest culinary experiences in the world. The addition of new and exciting merchandise is getting you to buy not only one pair of Mickey or Minnie ears, but also a second in rose gold, briar rose gold, purple, yellow, blah, blah, blah. I'm pretty good with avoiding the merchandise. I do want to get a shirt or a hat or something like that, a new one. But yeah, I'm pretty good at avoiding that kind of stuff.
We didn't get a whole heck of a lot of souvenirs, but the ones we did get were really cool. I ended up buying a lot of stuff in Epcot and a lot of stuff in, I think it was Animal Kingdom. I think. Because there was a section of one of the parks that was very much like tribal African themed, and some of the wood carvings and stuff from there were really interesting looking. I got a walking stick from there because I fun fact about me, I collect walking sticks, which I'm sure is ironic. And every time I go somewhere that's like touristy, I always get a walking stick. So yeah, that was a really cool souvenir I got.
That honestly doesn't surprise me, though, to tell you the truth. Okay, so where are we? Here we are. Also, yeah, look, your parents have to pay for it when you're a kid. Now you're the one that has to pay for it because you're an adult. Obviously, the cost is, you're going to feel it. I was telling Gail, I do believe that the prices are going to go up for us. My annual pass, because they opened Star Wars, went from $65 to $77. So
that's the thing. Even excluding the kids to adult thing, the costs are now higher than they have ever been.
Yeah,
we've basically made a habit on this show of referencing that one scene from Jurassic Park where apparently Disney saw that scene with the lawyer and took his word as gospel.
Yeah, he didn't listen to John Hammond. He listened to the lawyer. Oh,
Yeah,
we can charge anything,
Alchemy.
and people will come. Losing the experience of pure discovery. Now, the only thing that you'll lose the experience of pure discovery on is if you stop. I vlog. I go to Disney all of the time, and there's always something new. And it's not just like, even on old stuff, I could find something new, or I could find an experience. Jungle Cruise, the ride that we're seeing right here, always depends on your captain. You can have a good or bad experience because of the captain, but even the bad ones aren't that bad. There's scenery to look at. How about, here's a day, if you're somebody like me, just go and collect meet and greets. Just go to pin collect. Just go. My mother would just go sit down and have a day of talking to whoever sat right next to her. That was how she was going to spend her day at Disney, and she loved it. So there's always something to discover. If you're just going to go through the motions, you still would have fun, but you're not going to get a sense of discovery of a place where you've already been to.
This is one thing, and if I ever did go, I'd go with whoever was like there with me and nobody else, because when we went as a family, and my brothers are a lot more energetic than me, especially back then, because they were like 4 and 8 at the time, I think. And they of course were bouncing all over creation, and I just wanted to take everything in because I was a Disney geek and I was in the middle of Disney. And if we ever went again, I definitely would want to go with somebody who appreciated kind of the slower, just taking every little detail in more. Because in retrospect, every time I think of Disney, I think of the 1,001 things that I just didn't have the foresight to do, just because I was constantly being dragged all over creation by whatever my brothers wanted to do. So,
yeah. I love Tim Lim. Love him to death. Great comic book artist, great guy. Just dig on Tim Lim. When he was here at Disney, and he told me that was the way he does it, but when he was here, he's like, we're on this ride, go to this ride, go to this ride, let's go. There's a lot between each attraction that is so cool to see. You know, take time out, check it out, check out the signs, maybe find an Easter egg here, something to check out there. There's so much to see. Losing the pure discovery of it, that's up to you. Right here, they're saying, you know, what with all the videos saying that here's a hidden Mickey and here's the secrets of Disney, all those, that's still up to you to watch them. If you know you're going to Disney, if you know you're going to Disney and you want to take the time out, maybe don't watch them, or maybe watch them and then go, I want to see that now. I want to see that secret. I want to be able to go, aha.
Yeah, that was always my attitude, because I basically injected those in my veins when I was a kid. Every scrap of behind the scenes documentary, or even stuff on the cruise ships and things that I knew I never would get to go on. And by the time I went to Disney, I was a veritable encyclopedia of Disney knowledge. So I wanted to see every little thing. I wanted to get. I probably would have been one of those people that got stuck behind the scenes if I had my way, to be honest with you. But yeah, I love knowing all the ins and outs and nooks and crannies. It's one of the most fascinating aspects of it. And if I had a chance to go back, I would spend every waking moment trying to find some way of gaming the system and getting back behind the curtain, as it were. I
think it would be a lot of fun. You and VENKMAN come on down, and me and the professor will take you. Except for he'll be afraid to show his face, so he'll have to wear a mask all throughout it. And number 5 is not being a kid again.
Oh, I've already seen him with on camera. So.
I know, right? Now I can understand that.
I would recommend the mask though.
No matter how much you love Disney, there's simply something exceptional, special about traveling to Disney World as a child. The scale, the wonder, the possibilities for adventure. You can't go back to that exact feeling no matter how hard you try. That's true. I mean, I guess I'm the only one here that could speak to this, and I can say, yeah, there's some truth to that. And I'm not saying it'll ruin your it would ruin your trip forever or anything like that, but there is something about being excited to see Mickey because, wow, it's Mickey Mouse, and I watched the Mickey Mouse Club with Blair from Facts of Life. In my case, I remember what was it, Mindy? I think it was. No, there was, I forgot her name, but there was one that I had a big crush on. I don't even remember the names of the 70s. I remember the 50s Mouseketeer more than I do the 70s. But
yeah,
go ahead.
I do sometimes wonder if I did go at the wrong age, or maybe if it was just the wrong time, because I remember thinking maybe we all would have enjoyed Universal a little bit more than Disney, but part of me thinks that I just didn't get a chance to get around to enough of stuff, because like I said, at the whims of a 4-year-old and an 8-year-old at the time, I think.
Yeah, that can be rough. Even Gail and I, we knew that, you know, while we were in charge, we were not the boss of where we were going when Ashley and Elizabeth were toddlers.
That's how that works. Yeah.
Yeah. Ashley is funny as heck. Back then, she could not do anything different. So, like, if the first thing we ever rode was Jungle Cruise, and then we went around
Jungle Cruise again, yeah.
Jungle Cruise first. Now we have to do Tiki Birds. Now we have to do Pirates. Now we have to, because that's the way we did it last time. She was very much a creature of habit. I actually
was the same way as a kid. I know what that's like.
And I found out that bribery works with Ashley and Elizabeth, where I would go, if you kids are good, then I'll take you to the candy store, which we were going anyway because Gail and I love those Rice Krispie treats. Yeah. They're about that thick. So, but yeah, it's amazing when you're a kid. It can be amazing as an adult, but they're right. You're never going to get that sense of magic like you're talking about. You want to see behind the scenes, so you're not going to get that sense of magic. But for you, that is the magic.
Yeah. For
me, I think oddly enough, and once again, ironically so, I think you're the science and I'm the fantasy. You're the science and I'm the actual magic guy when it comes to Disney. You want to see the wheels turning, and I want to believe it's pixie dust.
Well, because it's like I always, whenever I like anything, I get into the nuts and the bolts and every little scrap of lore and stuff I can get my hands on. And for the longest time, one of the most inspiring things I had was, I think I was 5 years old and I used a wheelchair, and my mom made a deal with me that if I ever got to the point where I could walk using a walker instead of the wheelchair regularly, then she would arrange for us to go to Disney. And it took until my early teens, but I finally managed it around the time we transitioned from elementary school to middle school. And basically from the point I was 5 years old to the point that we finally went, I mainlined any bit of Disney knowledge I could get my hands on, whether it was history, whether it was lore, whether it was how the attractions worked, whether it was the randomizing algorithms for the different like digital attractions and stuff. I just downloaded everything I possibly could know about Disney. So when it came time to go, I was like, I'm going to see every little nook and cranny that I've always wanted to see, everything I've ever read about, everything I've ever seen on TV, so on and so forth. And I just, I didn't get a chance to, and it bummed me out a little bit, but it's also the fact that I don't think my brothers get into things quite the way I do, so they didn't. Had they been really, really into Disney, I would have been able to experience it kind of through them, but they were just kind of going through the motions, and it was a little disappointing that way too.
That's right, to that right. I went with a couple of friends of mine when we were teenagers, and they were very much, where are the roller coasters at? There's only 2 rides here. Because at the time, the only roller coasters were Big Thunder and Space Mountains.
Oh, yeah.
What are you talking about? There's a lot of stuff here to do. They just weren't into it the way we were. So, the way I was. It was a little disappointing. Anyway, there you go, gang. Those are the articles, the news, and a little bit of reminiscing. And as always, thank everybody who joined us. And as always, thank you very, very much for watching.
And
have a zippity-doo.